In the bustling streets of Chicago, there lived a man named Marcus Chun who believed every dollar spent required a spreadsheet entry and 3 levels of approval. He worked as an IT consultant at a downtown firm, and his favorite phrase was fiscal responsibility. But what he called discipline, everyone else called cheapness wrapped in corporate speak. Before marriage, Marcus had been different. He once surprised his girlfriend Rebecca with breakfast in bed. He brought her coffee from her favorite cafe and remembered how she liked her eggs. He was the kind of man who'd walk an extra block to buy her favorite magazine. Back then, he promised her the world, speaking in that gentle tone that made her believe he'd never let her struggle. Well, he kept half that promise. She definitely never stressed about things being too easy. Their love story began at a tech conference in Austin, where Marcus was known for 2 things: his excellent coding skills and his ability to calculate tips down to the exact penny. He could tell you the unit price of anything in the grocery store from memory. If Rebecca mentioned she'd paid $5 for bottled water at the airport, he'd launch into a 10-minute lecture about markup percentages and better alternatives. But Rebecca didn't notice these red flags. Love, after all, has a way of making stinginess look like thoughtfulness. After their wedding, the first 6 months went smoothly. Then Rebecca realized she hadn't married a partner. She'd married a living budget app. Every time she needed money, Marcus's eyes would narrow as if she'd asked for his kidney. If she requested $200 for a salon visit, he'd transfer $50 and send her a TED Talk link about minimalism. When she wanted new perfume, he'd say, "Why do you need that? You're not going on a world tour." Even when she got sick, he'd call 3 pharmacies comparing prices and ask the pharmacist if half a dose would work just as well. He was the type of man who unplugged appliances at night to save on phantom electricity charges. When their toothpaste tube was empty, he'd cut it open with scissors to scrape out the remnants. Then he'd show Rebecca proudly, "See, we just saved $3. Rebecca came from a warm home where her father regularly surprised her mother with small gifts, flowers, chocolates, the occasional piece of jewelry. So Marcus's penny pinching shocked her system. She tried talking to him gently. "Honey, don't you think we could relax a little? Money is meant to be enjoyed too." Marcus smiled his patient smile. "Rebecca, love isn't measured by spending. I'm building our future. You'll thank me later," Rebecca muttered under her breath. "At this rate, our future will file a restraining order." Their apartment was neat but lifeless. Even the furniture seemed tired of their marriage. Visitors noticed Rebecca was always calm but never joyful. She cooked with minimal ingredients while Marcus walked around with his phone calculator app open like it was a holy text. She thought this was just his nature, until the day she caught him buying a gourmet sandwich for a female coworker named Lisa. The way he smiled and said, "You deserve this," nearly made Rebecca's knees buckle. That same morning, she'd asked for $20 for yogurt, and he claimed he was broke. The same mouth that said broke was now buying $12 sandwiches. That's when Rebecca understood a fundamental truth. Stingy men aren't stingy with everyone. They're only stingy with their wives. For every woman suffering at home, there's another woman somewhere enjoying treats in secret. But Rebecca stayed quiet. She didn't want to seem jealous or insecure, so she watched and waited. As months passed, Marcus's stinginess became professional grade. He put a lock on the pantry. He labeled the coffee container 2 scoops per day and warned her not to offer guests snacks unnecessarily. He bought a small padlock for the spice cabinet. "I'm not controlling you," he explained. "I'm controlling waste." Rebecca said nothing. She just smiled and nodded. Despite everything, she still loved him in that complicated way women love men who frustrate them. She'd laugh at his jokes, listen to his theories, try to understand his logic. Sometimes she prayed for his heart to soften. God seemed to be taking his time. Then Lisa entered the picture more prominently. Lisa worked in Marcus's department, a stylish woman with perfect makeup and an infectious laugh. She was everything Rebecca wasn't at the moment: carefree, fashionable, and skilled at flattery. The day Rebecca visited Marcus at work and met Lisa, her intuition screamed danger. Lisa called her husband Boss Marcus in a voice sweet enough to cause cavities. Rebecca smiled politely, but internally she thought, This one is trouble. She was right. From that day forward, the small seed of generosity Marcus never showed at home began blooming at the office. He started dressing better, wearing cologne, humming love songs in the morning. Rebecca didn't need a prophet. She knew another woman was watering the garden he'd neglected. But she didn't confront him. She just watched, quietly and patiently, because she knew God had a way of exposing things in the most humiliating fashion. By the time autumn rolled around, Marcus was living two separate lives. At home, he was the chief financial officer of poverty. At work, he was the chairman of Generosity Unlimited. He complained money was tight at home, but the moment his phone buzzed with Lisa's messages, his account seemed to receive instant oxygen. Rebecca noticed everything. The extra shower he took before work, the new shirt he bought without justification, the way he smiled at his phone. She said nothing, just watched, just waited. Sometimes the best revenge is patience. If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below telling me what you think Marcus will do next. Share this with someone who needs a good story today. Lisa Martinez was young, confident, and understood exactly how to manipulate a middle-aged man's ego. She wore tailored dresses that commanded attention and greeted Marcus every morning with theatrical enthusiasm. "Boss Marcus, good morning. You look sharp today." She'd glide past his desk like she owned the building, and Marcus would puff up like a peacock. "Good morning, Lisa. You certainly brighten up this office." At first, Marcus pretended not to notice her obvious flirting. But humans are predictable creatures, and Marcus was no exception. One afternoon during lunch, Lisa approached his desk looking distressed. "Boss Marcus, my car broke down yesterday. The repair is going to cost me a fortune. I don't know how I'll manage." Marcus frowned with theatrical concern. "That's terrible. A professional like you shouldn't have to deal with that stress." Lisa sighed dramatically. "It's been rough lately. Between rent and bills, I'm barely surviving." Before his brain could stop his mouth, Marcus said, "Don't worry. Let me help you out." That help was $300. When Lisa texted back, "You're an angel, Boss Marcus. Not many men have your generous heart." Marcus smiled so wide that even Rebecca noticed that evening. "Why are you grinning at your phone?" she asked. "Oh, nothing. Just a funny meme," he lied, hiding his screen. Rebecca nodded, though her spirit told her that meme probably wore heels and lipstick. From then on, it became routine. Every time Lisa sighed, Marcus sent money. When she sneezed, he sent gift cards. When she posted photos online, he sent compliments. Meanwhile, Rebecca was still budgeting $75 for weekly groceries and using dish soap as shampoo when money got tight. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, Lisa sent the message that would change everything. "Boss Marcus, I'm in trouble. My landlord is threatening to evict me. I'm behind on rent by 2 months. I don't know what to do." Marcus's fingers trembled as he typed. "How much are we talking about?" Lisa sent a sad emoji. "It's $2,500 per month. If I could pay for the year up front, I'd get discount. But I need help with most of it." Marcus blinked. $30,000. The same man who argued with his wife over $20 hair products was suddenly calculating how to send $30,000 to a coworker. "Don't worry," he typed with shaking hands. "I'll take care of it tonight." Lisa replied with a voice note. "Boss Marcus, you're like a father to me. God will multiply this back to you." Marcus grinned. Father. If only she knew this father was calculating more than spiritual returns. That evening, while Rebecca prepared dinner in the kitchen, Marcus sat on the couch with his phone, smiling like a man about to win the lottery. He hummed a love song and opened his banking app. Rebecca poked her head out from the kitchen. "Why are you humming? Did you get a promotion?" Marcus forced a laugh. "No, just in a good mood. Good things are happening." Rebecca shook her head and returned to cooking. Marcus carefully typed in the account number Lisa had sent, double-checked it, and pressed send. When the transaction went through, he whispered to himself, "Done." That's how real men handle business. What Marcus didn't know was that in his excitement and poor eyesight, he'd entered Rebecca's account number instead of Lisa's. 2 minutes later, Rebecca's phone chimed in the kitchen. She wiped her hands and checked it. Her eyes went wide. $30,000 deposited. Wire transfer from Marcus Chun. She stared at the screen, blinked, and stared again. Jesus, is this real? She opened the banking app again. The name clearly showed Marcus Chun. Transfer to Rebecca Chun. Rebecca sat down slowly. Her knees felt weak. So, this man has been telling me we can't afford things while sitting on $30,000. She wanted to march into the living room and confront him immediately. But something, intuition, wisdom, or divine intervention, whispered, wait. Be quiet. Just watch. That night, Marcus acted completely normal. He even asked, Babe, how was your day? It was fine, Rebecca said sweetly. Actually miraculous. Marcus smiled. Really? That's good. Yes, Rebecca said. God has finally remembered me. Marcus frowned slightly, but said nothing. When they went to bed, Rebecca turned her back to him and stared at the wall, grinning to herself. Life truly has a way of humbling those who never thought they'd get caught. The next morning, Marcus left for work as usual. Rebecca waved goodbye with extra sweetness from the doorway. Drive safely, honey. The moment his car disappeared around the corner, Rebecca dropped the smile, grabbed her purse, and shouted to herself, time to go shopping. At the mall, Rebecca moved through stores like a woman possessed by the spirit of retail therapy. She bought new dresses, a leather jacket, designer shoes, a handbag she'd been eyeing for months, and perfume that cost more than their monthly grocery budget. She even told the sales clerk, pack 2 of those. I'm feeling blessed today. By afternoon, her transformation was complete. New outfit, new hair, new confidence. She took a selfie and sent it to her best friend Maria with the caption, My husband just shocked me with a miracle transfer. Life is good. Meanwhile, Lisa was getting impatient. She messaged Marcus again. Boss Marcus, I've been checking all day, but nothing came through. Are you sure you sent it? Marcus frowned and typed. Maybe the bank is delayed. Check again. Lisa's response came quickly. I've checked 5 times. There's nothing here. Sweat formed on Marcus's forehead. He opened his banking app with trembling fingers. When he saw the name on the completed transaction, his soul nearly left his body. Recipient, Rebecca Chun. He rubbed his eyes, blinked 3 times. Rub them again. No. No. This can't be happening. He wanted to scream, but couldn't. If he screamed, Rebecca would ask questions. If he stayed silent, Lisa would keep demanding answers. His head spun like a hard drive about to crash. That night, Rebecca sat on the bed, painting her nails and scrolling through her phone, looking like a woman who'd just received a wholesale delivery of peace. Marcus stood in the doorway, awkwardly. Babe, did you receive any unusual messages today? Rebecca looked up casually. Unusual? Like what? Marcus swallowed hard. Maybe like money? Bank error or something? Rebecca raised an eyebrow. Bank error? What bank sends me money when even you don't? Marcus forced a smile. No, I just mean maybe check. Sometimes transactions go to wrong accounts. Did it go to your account or mine? Rebecca asked sweetly. Not like that. Then stop worrying, dear, Rebecca interrupted. Everything that enters my account is mine. Are you trying to scam me now? Marcus froze. No, of course not. Good. Then get some sleep. You worry too much. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He lay awake staring at the ceiling, silently praying for a meteor to strike and erase all digital records. Meanwhile, Rebecca slept like a baby, dreaming of her new wardrobe. For the first time in years, she woke up humming like she had her own soundtrack. Her mood was so bright that even the neighbor's cat seemed confused. She stood in front of the mirror admiring her new dress, smiling and whispering, when God decides to humble your enemies, even a typo can work in your favor. Marcus sat at breakfast staring at his coffee like it might contain answers. His eyes were bloodshot. Your food is getting cold, Rebecca said cheerfully. Not hungry, Marcus muttered. Strange, Rebecca teased. A man who preaches about not wasting food should eat. Marcus forced a weak smile. Just thinking about work. Rebecca tilted her head. About what specifically? Just deadlines. Projects. Nothing important. Well, Drink your coffee then. It helps with stress. Marcus wanted to ask about the money directly, but embarrassment held his tongue hostage. How could he say, I accidentally sent you $30,000 mint for another woman? He'd rather swallow broken glass. As soon as Marcus left for work, Rebecca called Maria on video chat. Girl, Maria screamed. Who is this glowing goddess on my screen? Rebecca laughed. When you live under financial oppression for years and God finally locates your account, even your skin cells celebrate. Wait, are you saying Marcus actually gave you money? Let's just say a divine error occurred. I won't explain too much, but just know that heaven is not sleeping. By evening, Rebecca had restocked the kitchen, filled the refrigerator, and ordered new cookware. When Marcus came home and saw fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and green beans, fear gripped him. Who came over? Are we expecting guests? Rebecca smiled. Nobody. I just cook. Just cook. Marcus repeated. Chicken, potatoes, beans. You're wasting electricity and groceries. Rebecca set down her fork calmly. Marcus, see. This came from my pocket. Don't worry about expenses. Marcus's fear intensified. Where did you get money for all this? Rebecca shrugged. Favor found me. You wouldn't understand. Marcus ate in silence, his fork trembling slightly, becoming more certain with each bite that his worst nightmare had come true. By the third week, things escalated dramatically. Lisa stopped being polite. Boss Marcus, if you don't send my $30,000, I'm reporting you to HR. You promised me. A promise is a promise. Marcus replied weakly. Please lower your voice. I'll find the money. At home, he could barely eat. He paced the living room until Rebecca shouted from a bedroom. Stop walking around like a caged animal. You're disturbing my peace. He stopped and whispered to himself. Peace? You talk about peace after spending my $30,000. His guilt was consuming him. Every time Rebecca walked past smelling of expensive perfume, his heart bled a little more. He wanted to confess, but shame sealed his lips. Rebecca, meanwhile, had already figured everything out. The way Marcus kept asking about her account. The way his eyes followed her shopping bags. It was obvious he'd meant to send that money somewhere else. But she decided silence was sometimes the most expensive form of revenge. Their marriage had become a silent theater production. One person pretending to be innocent, the other pretending not to know. Then Lisa made her decision. She was coming to collect her promised money. And she wasn't coming quietly. It happened on a Friday evening. Rebecca was in the kitchen cooking pasta, dancing to old jazz songs. Life was sweet. Her phone buzzed with a notification that her online order had shipped. In the living room, Marcus sat like a man on death row. He'd barely eaten in days. Every phone notification felt like an alarm announcing Judgment Day. Lisa's final message that morning had been clear. Today I'm coming for my $30K. I don't care where you hide. Marcus had typed back. Please don't come. Let me handle this. But Lisa ignored him. The knock came at 7:30 p.m. Loud and aggressive. Bang, bang, bang. Rebecca looked up from the kitchen. Who knocks like they're trying to break down the door? Marcus's heart leaped into his throat. Maybe it's a delivery? Which delivery service knocks like that? The knock came again, and a female voice shouted, Open this door. I know you're in there. Rebecca slowly turned toward her husband. Who is that? Maybe wrong address. But Rebecca marched to the door and swung it open. There stood Lisa, dressed in a tight red dress that could stop traffic. Her makeup was flawless, her heels were 6 inches high, and her attitude was set to maximum confrontation. Where is he? Lisa demanded, not even greeting. Where is Marcus? Rebecca blinked. Excuse me, who are you? I'm Lisa, she snapped. Tell that man to give me my $30,000 or I'm sleeping here tonight. Rebecca slowly turned to Marcus, who now looked like a malfunctioning robot. 30,000? Rebecca repeated slowly. Babe, let me explain, Marcus began. Amanda raised her hand. Don't even try. Lisa folded her arms. He promised me rent money. He sent it to you by mistake. Simple. I've been patient enough. Tell him to send it back. Rebecca's face transformed completely. Her smile vanished. Her eyes went from confused to narrow to absolutely dangerous. Wait, so the money was for you? Lisa nodded confidently. Yes, my landlord has been calling me for weeks. Rebecca looked her up and down, from the fake eyelashes to the designer heels, then back at her husband, who looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him. Let me get this straight, Rebecca said slowly. You wanted to send $30,000 to your side chick, but I got it by mistake. Side what? Lisa protested. Lady, respect yourself. I'm not a side chick. Oh, please, Rebecca said, folding her arms. You think I was born yesterday? Why else would a married man be sending you rent money? Lisa scoffed. I just want my money back. Rebecca smiled tightly. Well, here's the thing. That money has already been redistributed. Shoes, bags, clothes, groceries, even the pasta I'm cooking right now. You'd have to contact heaven to get a refund. Lisa's eyes widened. You spent my money? Rebecca shook her head. No, sweetie. I spent God's provision that was redirected to its rightful destination. Lisa's tone changed completely. You people are thieves. Rebecca stepped closer. Careful, young lady. Before you insult me, remember you came to another woman's house demanding money from her husband. If I call the neighbors, you'll be trending on social media before midnight. Their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, peeked through her door. Everything okay out here? I heard shouting. Rebecca smiled sweetly. Everything's fine, Mrs. Patterson. Just a small misunderstanding. My husband accidentally sent another woman my blessing. Mrs. Patterson gasped. Oh my, these modern problems. Rebecca nodded. But God fixed it. Mrs. Patterson shook her head. These men never learn. She went back inside. Lisa turned to Marcus. Boss Marcus, if you don't send my money tonight, I'm reporting you to HR. Rebecca laughed. Call HR. Call the FBI. Call the president. I don't care. Just make sure you mention you were eating a married man's money while his wife was struggling. Lisa stood there speechless, then stomped out and slammed the door. The moment the door closed, Rebecca slowly turned to Marcus. The calm in her voice scared him more than any screaming ever could. Marcus Chun, you couldn't buy me a $20 bottle of perfume, but you were ready to pay another woman's yearly rent. Marcus dropped to his knees. Rebecca, please forgive me. I don't know what came over me. Rebecca crossed her arms. What came over you as a woman in a red dress? Powerful temptation. Marcus wiped his eyes. Please, I've learned my lesson. Rebecca sighed and walked past him. Good. Use that lesson to finish cooking dinner. I'm tired. Marcus blinked. What? Rebecca turned and gave him a long look. You heard me. Go cook. At least you can afford that. The next morning felt like a bad hangover that refused to end. The apartment was too quiet. Marcus sat on the edge of the bed with his head in his hands, replaying the previous night's disaster. Every time he remembered Lisa shouting $30,000 in front of his wife and neighbor, his stomach twisted. He hadn't just lost money. He'd lost dignity, peace, and the small amount of respect he had in Rebecca's eyes. Rebecca, meanwhile, was in the bathroom singing like she'd won the lottery. When she emerged wrapped in her towel, she walked past Marcus, sniffed the air dramatically, and said, Pride and stupidity smell identical. Haven't you noticed? Marcus sighed. Rebecca, please. Can we talk? About what? She asked, opening her closet. About yesterday. Rebecca turned. Oh, you mean Red Dress Friday? Marcus rubbed his head. Please stop mocking me. Mocking you? Rebecca laughed. I'm just documenting history. After all, it's not every day your husband accidentally sponsors another woman's rent and gets exposed in 4K. Marcus looked at her pitifully. I know I was wrong, but please forgive me. I don't even care about the money anymore. I just want my marriage back. Rebecca looked him up and down. You don't care about the money now? Forgiveness is easy, Marcus. But trust? That has packed its bags and left. Marcus nodded silently. He knew she was right. Later that morning, he dragged himself to work. His colleagues were unusually cheerful when he walked in. Boss Marcus. Big spender, one shouted. Another added, Sir, can you accidentally send me some money too? I have bills. Marcus's face burned. What nonsense is this? They all burst into laughter. Lisa had already told the office about the failed transfer. The story spread faster than wildfire, and his new nickname became Mr. Accidental Transfer. Even the security guard greeted him. "Morning, Boss Marcus. Hope your transfers are going to the right people today." He couldn't take it. He skipped lunch and sat in his office, head in his hands. "I've become a joke because of my foolishness." Back at home, Rebecca was thriving. She'd started planning an online clothing business. That evening, Marcus returned to find her organizing business materials. "Rebecca, what's all this?" She smiled. "My new business. I'm using your mistake for productivity." Marcus groaned. "Must you remind me every time?" Rebecca grinned. "You reminded me of poverty every day for 3 years. Let's balance things out." But beneath her sarcasm, she could see he was genuinely humbled. The proud, tight-fisted man who once gave lectures about financial discipline now looked defeated. That night, he knelt beside the bed again. "Rebecca, I've learned my lesson. I'll change. I'll be better." Rebecca looked at him quietly. "Why did you do it, Marcus?" "Why, Lisa?" Marcus sighed. "She made me feel respected. She called me Boss Marcus. She laughed at my jokes. My ego enjoyed the attention." Rebecca nodded slowly. "So you paid for attention with our peace?" Marcus lowered his head. "I know. I'm sorry." For a long time, Rebecca said nothing. Then, "You see, Marcus, respect doesn't grow where love is starving. If you'd listened when I complained, I wouldn't have become bitter, and you wouldn't have been desperate for fake admiration." Marcus wiped his eyes. "You're absolutely right." Rebecca sighed. "Don't just be sorry. Be different." 2 weeks later, the apartment began to change. Marcus was still quiet, but different. He no longer locked cabinets or counted coffee scoops. He even surprised Rebecca one afternoon with flowers and an envelope. Rebecca frowned suspiciously. "There better not be an apology letter for another woman in here." Marcus smiled. "Just open it." Inside was $2,000 cash. "For whatever you need," Marcus said. "And no lecture this time." Rebecca blinked. "You're giving me money freely?" Marcus nodded. "Yes. I finally realized that stinginess is just fear wearing pride. I was afraid of losing money, and I ended up losing everything that mattered." Rebecca's heart softened. "Wow, you finally said something wise." They sat together that evening, eating dinner and talking. He even offered to help with her business deliveries. Meanwhile, Lisa's chapter closed in disgrace. She left the company after HR discovered she'd been collecting help from multiple men. One day, Rebecca saw her at a secondhand store, working as a cashier. Their eyes met briefly. Rebecca smiled and nodded. Life has a way of balancing itself. That evening, as she and Marcus watched TV together, Rebecca turned to him. "You know something funny?" "What?" Marcus asked. "If you hadn't sent that $30,000 by mistake, we'd still be living like strangers. God used your foolishness to reset our marriage." Marcus smiled. "So you're saying my stupidity was divine intervention?" "Exactly," Rebecca laughed. "Heaven used your mistake to teach you sense." Marcus laughed until tears rolled down his cheeks. "Rebecca, thank you for not walking away." Rebecca smiled. "Next time, walk toward me before you start transferring money to strangers." They both laughed and went back to their show, sitting closer than they had in years. And that's the end of this incredible story. What did you learn from Marcus and Rebecca's journey? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Share this story with your friends and family. They need to hear this. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next story, take care and remember, what you sow is what you reap.